kills human cells too, right? And we have, because you don't want a drug that. See, that's the problem with these compounds, right? They work great against methicillin-resistant Staph aureus, but they also kill people, right? They have these really bad side effects, right? And there's actually, so this is a common theme, and I don't work for the pharmaceutical industry, but. We want to test it, and we have some preliminary results from a similar compound that actually suggest that these aren't very toxic towards human cell lines. So it's very promising, but as far as a specific timeline, I'm not sure exactly. But we do have a patent filed on it right now. So.
Okay. Well, thank you, Patrick.
Thank you.
Our next presentation is by Ari Gagne from the College of Music, an ethnography of New Orleans bounce music culture. Ari.
This slide represents bounce music culture, the subject of my research. Are you provoked? Offended? Does the slide appear to objectify, sexualize, or even racialize these silhouettes? For bounce participants, these images are commonplace. They merely signify the people, locality, and physical movement of their culture. NOLA is New Orleans, Louisiana, the birthplace and home of bounce for over 25 years. The person holding the microphone is Big Frida, a gay, transgender bounce rapper. The women in this slide are embracing bounce's particular style of dance. Unlike outsiders, who assume bounce perpetuates the very stereotypes used to discredit hip-hop, those participating within bounce culture describe it as empowering and emancipatory. Then why is bounce being misread? What is happening on the inside of bounce culture that those on the outside do not understand? Ethnographic research is precisely the methodology to answer such questions, to explain how bounce participants make meaning from their physical, visual, historical, and auditory musical experiences. The culture of bounce music is much more complex than any slide can possibly express. Bounce participants represent a diverse cross-section of classes, races, genders, and sexual preferences. Bounce performers also epitomize diversity, with many openly gay, transsexual, and transgender artists performing within New Orleans. I hypothesize that bounce music and dance serve different purposes and are heard or translated differently depending on each individual's own identity. Bounce concerts, where all of these people come together, provide the ideal opportunity to research the intersections among music, dance, and identity. Ethnomusicologists have examined various ways in which our identities can be reinforced and formed by music. My proposed project builds on the research. First, by examining how bounce culture challenges existing boundaries regulating expressions of identity. And second, by exploring why participants feel free to openly celebrate numerous expressions of identity at bounce concerts. My initial work has argued that the participatory nature of bounce music is instrumental in moving it beyond entertainment, becoming a source for both the production and expression of identity at the individual and group level. I believe the physicality of bounce music, both the dance and the embodied experience of the call and response lyrics, is an integral part of the identity formation process from which bounce participants internalize and further embody the actual music. But in order to discover what the music and dance precisely means for the participants, I need to live in New Orleans, to participate with them, to interview them, and to study sources at the Amistad Research Center, the nation's largest independent archive of African American history. I have the full range of training and experience necessary to conduct exactly the type of research I propose. I am an academic outsider who is also a bounce insider. My previous experience performing and touring with prominent hip-hop groups has enabled me to build relationships with people on the inside of bounce culture. Bounce fans, DJs, and artists have already welcomed me into their community. As a scholar, in addition to learning the standardized methods of ethnography, the work I have done in earning my ethnic studies graduate certificate has trained me how to ethically research issues of race, gender, and sexuality. Scholars in anthropology, ethnomusicology, Black studies, and queer studies have received my work with equal enthusiasm. My presentation at the National Queer People of Color Conference was selected for an honorarium. I've also given lectures by invitation at the University of Chicago and the City University of New York. In addition, I received an unsolicited invitation with stipend to present the Sankofa lecture series on hip-hop and identity. Initially, there was often skepticism when I introduced my work. However, just as often, after further discussion, skepticism turns into curiosity and understanding. The people silhouetted in this slide bounce for reasons that none of us can yet comprehend. By exploring those reasons, my research into bounce culture aims to inspire a shift in research focus within the arts, to move us away from solely considering the producers and artists in order to restore agency to the voice of everyday people who actually consume, participate, and identify with both dance and music. Thank you.
Question? Okay.
What was your role in, since you traveled, I'm curious, what was your role in traveling with the bounce musical acts?
Well, my experience was actually, well, I've traveled to bounce performances. My experience was touring and performing with hip-hop groups like Black Eyed Peas, Two Live Crew, Red Man Method Band. I'm saying my big name hip-hop people, I guess. I've toured, I've seen concerts of bounce in both New Orleans as well as outside of New Orleans.
Okay. Thank you, Art.
Can't answer the question.
Okay, next up we have William Lippert from Anthropology. William will be talking on broadcasting indigeneity, Aboriginal media, and multiculturalism in Australia. William.